Okay, I gotta say this. The T-34 Russian tank is German. It was made in Germany. It was invented in Germany. Germany had the rubber treads and stuff like that, and there's some other stuff that was Germany. You have a lot of intermixing where, like, you have Swedish stuff that's actually that gets passed off as German, and you have German stuff passed off as Russian, and you have like the Sherman tank, which is actually, I think, Chinese or something because of little tracks. You look at the rollers. You measure up the rollers. That's all me, but it's my group here, my group there. But the T-34, well, they made it in Germany and they made it in somewhere else. I mean, and they made it in Russia. They made it in somewhere else. But it's actually a German tank that just went to Russia, basically. And and I see it all the time. It's like the Russian T-34. It's like it was actually German. It was that was like well, if you follow my line, if you follow Lucifer White Star Line, and that's another thing about that. That's another reason why it's kind of funny with my name. It's Lucifer White Star Line, because it all basically goes blink, bink, 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 bink. You know, and you can actually follow how my like my groups go out, my groups come in, my groups go out, my groups come in. Like I'm always like, I always bring my groups back together. You know, I bring them back in. You know, they'll go out. I'll invest in them or direct them to go out, and then I'll be like, all right, gather up, and my groups will kind of like come together. And this happens like 2 or 3 times throughout history, wherever where my groups go out into other countries, you know, and they deal with some problem or some psychopath, like putting down the psychopath, you know, like for instance, the Slovakians or whatever wanted my tanks. They bought my tanks, or they got my tanks, or something like that, and they went and killed this one guy, which wasn't all that bad of a guy, and I had to go back and I had to send Germans in there to go kill him, and then the Slovakians become, like, there's a Slovakian-Polak war or something or other. I don't really know. But basically, there's this one psychopath. He got tanks or whatever, and then I had to go kill him with the Germans. And then Germans, not germs. It wasn't germ warfare. And there's a lot of mistranslating too, by the way, that's going on. Germs, Germans, like I say, I'm doing the war on germs. I mean, viruses and diseases. And they say, well, kill all the Germans. It's like, that's not what I meant. That must be a typo. So anyway, Germany gets bombed anyway or something. I don't know. Anyway, but basically the T-34, I mean, they're all mine. Mitsubishi, mine, just my different groups, because a lot of my groups shared their inventions, ideas. You know, because I owned everyone, so I would have word sent to this group, and then that group would send word to another group, and so we could all get aligned. It started somewhere around or you look at it, and it coalesces somewhere around the age of the Titanic, because I start having, in order to build such a big ship, I have to link all my different groups together. So I have writers, and my writers go out, and my writers bring back messages, and then go out, and bring back messages, and go out, and bring back messages. It's almost like having sex now. Anyway, though, but seriously, though, like one writer writes to this camp, goes to that camp, goes to that camp, goes to that camp, goes to that camp, and mine samples from all the different camps, because we have to bring the metallurgies together, because you can't have, you know, the metallurgies have to be exactly the same or close by. So we start doing testing in order to get the metallurgies right on, because there's a lot of, there were some panels that were shipped, whole panels, and they moved these panels like 300 miles, and it's like, well, it's the wrong stuff. We can reforge it into the right stuff, but it's going to take some time. And it's like, all right, I guess it's going to take some time, because these whole panels would be shipped, and they'd be shipping me, you know, I'd be paying money for these, or requesting these panels, and these panels would come in, and these panels would basically be junk steel or something like that, pig iron. Like I got all this pig iron from all over the place. In fact, we would ship pig iron by rail, actually, because most outside foundries or long range foundries or long range mines couldn't do good iron. They could only do pig iron, or just like put it all together and ship it on a train car, which basically is big blocks of, like, not really stone. You could call it blister steel or something, or just it's like a stone kind of concoction that's not quite metal. It's like 1/3 refined metal or something, and then my smelting plant, my main smelting plant, would smelt it down into good raw steel, and there's a lot of that because they basically like lump it together, and there's also a lot of thieving or whatever where people were basically shipping like it's a rock, it's not actually iron, but I guess we can get like this much iron out of it, so they would do that and stuff like that, and I'd be like, oh. But we were just paying food anyway, though. So it's like well, we're just paying them food. So, you know, they just want rice or grain or whatever, or women. No, but rice or grain. I'd be like, no women, but the rice or grain, yes. So we'd ship them rice and grain and stuff like that, and other kinds of things, edible things, trees. They want a tree. It's like, they want a tree, a whole tree. Okay, send them a sapling and some seeds. And there's a lot of that because a lot of people are like, we want a tree. It's like, okay, because they plant trees and then they grow them and they harvest them and then they plant more trees and like, because like a lot of people are requesting, you know, they'll send me iron and we'll send them a tree, you know, sometimes a whole tree. It's like, send them a tree and they're like, like, they take a picture of it. And it's like, and take a picture, and they'll take a picture of like this great big tree on a train. It's like, it's gonna die. Yeah, it died. But we sent it to them anyway. We took a picture of it. Sometimes some of my guys, I think they do it as a joke because I'm like, send them a tree. So they put a tree, tree roots and everything, bush. Sometimes some people mistranslation or just because like it's so ridiculous, or just because I'm just that powerful. I mean, I own a whole country, so it's like, well, it took them 4 weeks to dig it out, but we got it on the trade, sir. How big of a tree was it exactly? Only about 3 foot around. 5 foot around tree with branches. Cut the branches off and ship it, and ship them a sapling as well. So there's another picture of like a giant tree on a train, and like a sapling right next to it. I don't know if it was taken the same day, but yeah. I think they got the sapling on there. Like 4 towns down, somebody had a sapling that they could dig up, and they put it in a pot or something like that, or some sort of sack, and they put it on the train car. Anyway, as things go along, because I'm doing all these things, because people are like, oh, you can request trees for steel or whatever. It's like, yeah, get a tree, and like a lot of, you know, it's amazing the orders that come in because all these people are like, because we also send out order sheets, and I should get into that actually. I'll make another video.